Let us highlight the theme, dear students. The theme of Macbeth is found in Act 1, scene 14. Voting ambition, which overleaps itself and falls on the others. Ambition conspires with unholy forces to commit evil deed. Ambition is very dangerous, by the way. Ambition, طموح, can lead you to progress or destruction. Through ambition, you might not be ambitious. People think that an ambitious person is very good. No, ambition can lead you to conspire. Conspire means to act and kill, to commit evil deed. This is to conspire. With every murder, with every killing, with every murder, Macbeth thinks that he will have achieved his aim and it will be the last. Yet, in spite of that, he still has his ambition. Having obtained the crown to the throne, of course, he has the further ambitious to keep the further ambition to keep it in his own family. Surely, just one more killing will give him all he wants. You see, a person, whoever goes, on 2 legs is an enemy, and whoever goes upon 4 legs is a friend. You know this saying, and thus it goes on and on. You see, the ambition goes on and on. As I said, it might lead you to progress or to destruction. You might destroy your reputation. You might tarnish your reputation by ambition, by the way, by being ambitious. But religion governs this ambition. Let us go ahead. Macbeth, thus, it goes on and on, as you said. Macbeth has no sooner made a mistake, than he loses pleasure and happiness of the fruits of his sin. You see what I mean? Everything which goes up must come down. You see, this joy and happiness he had looked for gets farther and farther away as each new murder increases in his remorse and fear. Remorse means to ask your conscience to be sorry for something. And fear means to be frightened by something. Type of a play. Let us have type of play. Which type of play is Macbeth? Macbeth is a tragedy, by the way. It is not a comedy. It is a tragedy. It belongs to a group of Shakespeare's plays, often classified as the great tragedies. Let us talk about characters. Macbeth is a nobleman and a Scottish general in the king's army. He is ambitious, طموح, and he has physical courage, شجاعة. He dominates the whole play. سيطر هيمن على كل المسرحية. In fact, the story is the story of his rise and fall. As I said, everything which goes up must come down. Every cloud has a silver lining. Look, he tries through his ambitious evil deeds to throw his arrows to others to kill them. Let us have setting now. Macbeth happens in Scotland. That's the Scottish play in the 11th century. And let us talk about climax. This is the last one. The climax of the play occurs in Act 3, Scene 3, where Bango is killed by murderers whom Macbeth has hired. See, he hired murderers, قتلة, to kill him, to kill Bango. And Flans, Bangu's son is called Flans. Bangu's son, Flans, Bangu's son escapes, not tolerating to see his father in front of him. Let us have the language again. Shakespeare used poetic language. This characterized by imagery, images, using images expressed in simile and metaphor. For example, this is a simile. I cannot fly. I'm a person. I cannot fly. This is a simile. You see? You haven't seen the word like, because sometimes you see her pearls, her teeth are like pearls. This is simile also. You know, the word like and as are used to indicate the simile, the usage of simile. But sometimes you have it like this. I cannot fly. I am a person. But bear-like, I must fight the course. You see, this is simile. And now here is a metaphor. Myself should be the root and father of many kings. A child is father of man, by William Wordsworth. You see, this is metaphor. Rhythm, which depends on 5 stressed syllables, 5 syllables in each line. Methought I heard a voice cry, sleep no more. Macbeth does merit the sleep, the innocent sleep. Most of the play is in poetic form, poetic device, iambic pentameter. The only prose passages are the speeches of the porter. Shakespeare used prose for the comic characters. Used prose for the comic characters, you know, and verse for the nobler characters. Lady Macbeth also speaks prose in her sleepwalking. Sleepwalking, you know, a nightmare might be there, a nightmare might be there. That is a sleepwalking. But let us highlight the exercise here. Theater stage. Let us talk about it a little bit. A place where plays are performed. A stage is the raised area in a theater where actors perform their plays, their work. Let us have dramatist, a person who does drama. Dramatist is a person who writes plays. Playwright means is also used to mean the same as dramatist. Playwrights, dramatists are the same. Objective point. The objective point of view or narrative story in this kind of narration, storytelling, the narrator is unnamed, anonymous, is unnamed, anonymous, and unidentified, not known, and detached, secluded, and excluded. Let us talk about the act itself. Is a section of division in the action of a play. Acts are often divided into scenes. Scene means subdivision or subsection of an act. A scene is a small unit of action and time in a play. Dear students, I want you to be sentimental. You know, don't let trouble comes your way. Be sentimental, because sometimes sentiments, feelings are very important. So let us have poetry, the objectives of poetry as a genre of literature. By the end of this unit of poetry, you will be able to define the basic terms that are used to analyze and discuss poetry. Analyze could be written with Z at the end, you know. That's British English and American English. This is not our story for now. Name different types of poems. You will be able to name different types of, different kinds of, different types, different sorts of poems. You might be able, number 3, to show an appreciation, understanding of some poems and playwrights. You might also be able to read critically and imaginatively. You know, you strike out your mind. You rack your brains. You rack your brain. You know, you strike out your mind. So let us begin. Elements of poetry. Poetry is an overflow of emotions recollected at moments of tranquility. at moments of calmness, at moments of serenity. So let us define it as the book says. Poetry is a form of genre, a form or genre of literature, kind of literature. It is an art, by the way. The term verse is also used to refer to poetry. In general, poetry, like drama and fiction, has its own elements, as they have their own elements, some of which are similar to those of the other genres, and some are different. The main ingredients of poetry are explained below. Let us see the ingredients. 1. Structure and form. Structure as an element of poetry refers to the overall principle of organization of a poem, the taxonomy of a poem. Form is the way the poet is, visualizing, is visually presented. Lines of poetry are grouped into stanzas or free verse. Stanza means 4 lines of poetry. These used by Shakespeare and other playwrights. Free verse, الشعر الحر. Free verse. So let us highlight them one by one. Let us talk about stanza. Stanza is a group of unit, is a group of lines or a unit of lines of verse inside a poem. داخل القصيدة الشعرية. It may have 2 or more lines of verse. For example, 2 lines, we call them couplet. 3 lines, trisset. 4 lines, quatrain. Quadruple means 4. 5 lines, quintet. 6 lines, sestet. 7 lines, septet. 8 lines, octave. And let us talk about free verse first. Free verse is a verse released from the convention of regular pattern of stresses and line lengths. حر. It is written in broken up lines like poetry, not continuously like prose. Prose يعني النثر. It is usually very rhythmical. Follow the rhythm. في وغافية. Free verse was used by poets such as Ezra Pound, W.C. Williams, and T.S. Eliot. All these are playwrights of free verse. The following examples is taken from Eliot's The Waste Land. April is the cruelest month breeding. This is the first and sufficient to that. Let us have figurative speech. Figurative speech sometimes is also called figures of speech. And they include simile, تشبيه, metaphor, استعارة, and personification. The تشخيص, personification, giving personal qualities to non-inanimate objects. For example, simile is a comparison of 2 things using an explicit, very obvious word such as or like, as I told you. As, like, as and like. Resembles, look like, or than, look as this example. For example, here and there. His brown skin hung in strips like ancient wallpaper, and its pattern of darker brown walls, darker brown, was like wallpaper. Shapes like full blown roses, stained and lost through age beginning to tell on them. From The Fish by Bishop E. 1911 and 1979 to 1979. Let us have a look at personification now. Is giving human qualities, as I said, to an object. The object is inanimate. شيء غير عاقل تديه حاجات بتاعت عاقل. This is personification. Thing or an animal. It could be seen as a special kind of metaphor. يبدو وكأنه استعارة. In which a non-human object or quality is referred to, is given to an animate object. So to this end, to as if we're human, as if it were human, you know, to personify an honor of a person. An example of this personification is this: let not ambition mock their useful toil. Let, it's the very nice line ever. Let not ambition mock, because ambition might lead you to kill someone. As I told you, ambition might lead you to progress or destruction. Their useful toil, their homely joys and destiny obscure. Destiny, for example, Allah, the Almighty, the Omnipotent, leads us to our destiny, but we reach our destination by our choice. For example, I'm going from here to London. London will be my destination, and that I like. But, you know, destiny is by Allah, the Almighty, subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Omnipotent. So, personification in this case, for example, this is taken from Thomas Gray's elegy. Elegy يعني الرساء. In 1716 and 1771. 1771, the elegy by Thomas Gray. This is, which I will highlight again because it is very appealing to my heart. Let not ambition mock their useful toil, their homely joys and destiny obscure. Let us talk about sound. Sound is an element of poetry also. It's used here to cover a wide range of minor elements, very small elements. Our discussion, however, will be limited to the following ingredients. Rhythm, that is rhyming pentameter, consists of matching sounds, الغافية, at the ends of lines of verse. في نهاية الشعر الحر الغافية, rhyme. This creates a very clearly audible يعني can be heard, مسموع يعني, sense of pattern. An example is shown here below. He who binds to himself a joy does the winged life destroy. See, joy and destroy. This is rhyming pentameter, غافية. You see? But he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. Flies and rise, rhyming again. This is by William Blake. So let us have the rhythm. The rhythm, the term rhythm means the pattern of stressed and unstressed sounds. Stressed and unstressed sounds in a line of poetry. For example, the rhythm of these lines is easily perceived, is easily understood. I have a boy of 5 years old. His face is fresh and fair to see. Strongly stressed syllables are marked. Weaker stressed syllables are marked with, strongly stressed syllables are marked with a special mark, and weaker stressed syllables are marked with special stress. So let us see which is which. Repetition. This element of sound includes the following: alliteration, saj'a. This is the repetition of consonant sounds in initial position in words near each other. Look at this stanza of 4 lines. The rhyme of the ancient mariner. Mariner means one who works on a ship. Swiftly flew the ship. Swiftly means quickly. Answer visit to that repetition. Types of poetry now. Types of poetry are also called poetic forms, poetic device. And they are so many. You do not need to know all of them right now. So we will introduce them to a few types here. Dramatic poetry is a name given to a specific kind of poems in which a single character addressing a silent listener explains his actions at an important moment, as we say, or crisis. The plural, by the way, is crises. Crisis, asma, crises, azamat. Crises, C-R-I-S-E-S, crises. In their life, as he speaks or as they speak, he unconsciously reveals his state of mind. He might be happy, he might be angry, he might be stressed, he might be overstressed, and so on. His history and his relations to each other, to other people. His words also evoke the setting, make igniting. Evoke means ignite. Ignite the setting of the action. The most famous dramatic monologues in English literature are those written by Robert Browning. Before we highlight them again, the most famous dramatic monologues in English literature are those which are written by Robert Browning. My Last Duchess and Tennyson, Tithonus. You know, these are the most important monologues in English literature. So let us have narrative poetry. Poetry which tells a story. This is also called narrative verse. شعر رواية. It is poetry which tells a story. It is divided into two sub-genres, epic and ballad. You know, شعر الملاحم وشعر العاطفة, الشعر العاطفي. An epic is a long narrative poem which describes the deeds of heroes, شعر الملاحم, in battle. Other epics are poems of history or people's origins. Examples of this type are the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer. We said that even Homer notes by saying these. The ballad is a song that tells a story. The story often has a tragic theme. قصة مأساوية. The sonnet is very important. The sonnet is a 14-line poem which has a fixed pattern of meter and rhythm. The English sonnet is usually organized into 3 quatrains, 4 lines, with a concluding couplet, 2 lines. The rhyming scheme الميزان الشعري is based on the pattern A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, 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 G. Dear students, let us have the lyric poetry. Lyric عاطفي. A lyric is a poem, usually short, not long, expressing in a personal manner the feelings and thoughts of an individual speaker. Lyric poetry, in its broadest, widest sense, encompasses a large number of other more specialized kinds of poetry, including the elegy, الرثاء, ode, and hymn. Example of lyrics are marvels to his coy mistress, the beloved who was mysterious, and Tennyson's, as we said, Ulysses. And to this end, let me highlight one genre of literature. Shall I compare you to thee, by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare you to thee? Shall I compare you to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. You are more lovely. This is for his beloved. You are means thou art. Thou art means you are. You are more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease has all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summers shall not fade away. Shall not fade away. Let me add the word away because I like it very much. Nor lose possession of that fair thou owest you have. Nor shall death brag thou wonders in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. This gives life to you, for his beloved, by William Shakespeare. Let us have a definition of elegy, الرثاء. An elegy is a poem written as a lament, lament na'i, for the death of someone, or written to record a passing event. Let us talk about the syllable. A syllable is a unit of sound which contains a vowel sound with one or more consonant sounds. Vowel sounds and consonant sound, no vowel letters. You see? Stress, let us have stress. Every person, everybody is overstressed nowadays. So, stress and extra force used when pronouncing a particular syllable. This is different here. Now, to this end, I would like to leave you here, but before we disperse, I should like to thank the university, the Open University of Sudan in general, and the production administration in particular, for organizing for the poor dear students this course, which might be visualized as audio and video. With this, I should like also to thank the team working behind the curtains, working behind the curtains day and night to reproduce this work. With this, dear students, I should like to conclude for now, and I hope to see you for next semester. Thank you very much, and thanks for the team again working with me here inside the studio, this cozy studio and lovely studio. Thank you very much for this. Thanks a lot.